Hey Gemini, welcome to your January 2025 reading. Capricorn season reading. I bet you can't wait till February. For those of you who know, it is when Jupiter goes direct in your sign. So, oh hey girl. All right, so the devil. Before we continue, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. My website, payment options, Patreon link will be the first link below with this extended reading of this, extended version of this reading. And you can also get this right on Patreon too if you'd like. Yeah, everything is below, so take a look there. I also do reels and shorts and update my social medias, Venusian Wave for everything. And that's it. So, the devil. What has been within your control, under your control, out of your control? That's all up in the air. Here we are, Gemini. The vastness that you may want to explore has its obstacles of how your mind is doing, how you're able to communicate, what you have been very sensitive about, what you've been feeling lately, especially if you've been feeling out of control, like you can't quite. We're going to talk about the parents. You can't quite decide when you're going to feel a certain way. You may even be feeling like you're back and forth at this time. What I think you're aware of, and when you're extra sensitive, you can tend to, we all have a way of accessing certain protection that also hits our psyche, and then, you know, depending on that age, it stays with you, however you end up developing. And it comes from the caregivers. This could be a father and mother situation. You can have both things coming up right now. A transitional time. For those of you, if it's physical into the non-physical or vice versa, take the time you need to grieve your old life. Because when you're out of control, whether it's in a positive or negative way, life is moving. Life is moving. You know that. Sometimes the sky moves so fast, Gemini. You are the sky. And sometimes we have days of the same kind of weather. Now apply that. Oh, we got all through the last one. Now apply that to your emotions. Apply that to yourself. Notice how, for some of you, it is about what actions you want to take, what you feel like you're capable of, what you're not. It's all kind of, it feels like pressure. There may feel like there's a lot of pressure, but then also this release of pressure at the same time. Gemini risings, this is your second house. There's an opening to how you can build upon your skills. There's a change and maybe even an intuitive shift that comes from, the shift is an effect of a cause. Something has happened and now you have cause and effect to listen to yourself more intuitively. Some of you in certain ways don't realize where maybe you're focusing too much on material gain and not enough maybe with the stars. Maybe you start to take astrology more seriously, take how you're being guided more seriously. Even if you're the one giving it or at the top of your field, there's still a need to be given guidance, of course, from your soul, from your experience. And you may have been closed off for a while. Even though you know this deeply, when you sit with yourself long enough, you can confidently address all of these places that which, and not only the things that you've kept hidden from yourself, the things you didn't know were maybe hidden. You may also have to address what was kept from you and what you didn't have control over. And now that you know, it may not have felt so great at first. You may have been felt betrayed for some of you, or you're experiencing over and over a similar situation and you decide to finally cut your losses and you move confidently forward. You take with what you have and address as you go, and you realize that as you're moving, what you've been protecting yourself from. And that's, some of you, it's from your real power. Your power has been under control, right? The devil is also power. Something has been under, because if you had more power, if you felt more powerful, you can sense that you're more powerful than someone else who has more power over you. You could experience that as a negative thing, like, oh, I can't be that. And then therefore it's been within your shadow. And now you have to learn to nurture the side of yourself that does feel powerful, that does feel capable, that does feel confident, that does have your shit together. Some of you are overcoming and integrating, or deeply integrating, a victim complex. Many of us have it. This one is just very prominent for you. It's like being pulled out of you. You may not realize how ingrained that was in you from where you were raised, how you were raised, maybe the place, the people that you were amongst. Maybe there was this, and that is a deep need to heal. I was listening today, her name is Dr. Anna Limp. I don't know if I never looked up how it was pronounced and I didn't hear it, but she was amazing in explaining the balance of pain and pleasure. Also experiencing that the victim narrative, if you keep yourself in that narrative, and that's a story that you're always telling about yourself, and this is a huge time, we talk about redefining stories, but this is a huge time to redefine stories, and because it's a mental thing that also can hit you very emotionally, especially when you're very honest with yourself and authentic. For those of you who feel connected to that, watch the Taurus reading. You're being guided to understand these controls, and you can start to obviously learn that very quickly. Mercury will also move into Capricorn very soon. Mars also moving into Cancer very soon, and it's retrograded. So it's showing you where maybe you've held back skills and talents. For Gemini risings, this could be Sun or Moon too, but this is just where I'm relating to your chart. So if you want to get more in depth, is that your success and your talents going together. There's some ways in which you've held back, where you're not allowing yourself to play big enough, so that so weirdly enough, you're almost needing power over how others are experiencing their success, perhaps. How that affects your money, how that affects theirs. The more that you own yours, the more that they get theirs. The more that you let go of control, the more the natural response to life will happen, the more that evolution will take place. And we don't really know that, right? We're creatures who want to think we have some control, like the stars is a helpful indication of like what's really out of our control and then what's within our free will. And you have the capacity to find yourself in situations and being able to notice where it's coming from in that moment and confidently move forward and maybe away from that, away from acting on the drama. For some of you, as a Mercurial ruled sign, you need to write it down. You have some kind of story to tell that can transcend time, Gemini. And it's just revealing to you that what you've put in the way, or what you've paid attention to, maybe what you've been codependent to for so long, just to keep yourself from seeing how early you picked this up, or how deeply ingrained something, or how long you've been holding on. And I know that can be hard to stomach for some of you, maybe hard to feel. Maybe you may feel sore in these areas of your body. You may even feel like you want to rest more. I would highly recommend yin yoga for those of you. We have yang and yin. Maybe you want a little bit of both, but I would say if your life is very go, 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 then I would do yin. But if your life isn't and you're kind of sedentary, do some yang. Meaning yang yoga is just doing like a regular yoga practice. Yin is its own thing. You'll have to literally say it's yin yoga. So, or just something that moves your body in a way that balances out your day-to-day. For some people, they do need the same thing in order to feel aligned. So I would definitely give yourself the opportunity to notice which one you need more of, but give yourself the power to decide, not to default to anything right now. It will help switching up something, the way you move your body or the way that you go about your day-to-day. Is this is Saturn, and then the moon, because the moon is ever changing. This is also the full moon, so the full moon cycle, we'll talk about that in a second. But it's allowing yourself to, maybe you go based on where the moon's at. That's how you get yourself under control. Maybe, Gemini, right now in your life, you study the moon cycles and you go about your day-to-day based off the moon cycles and how it's affecting you. Just a recommendation. And if that is the case, we just had a new moon, and that's a time of renewed energy. Maybe you want to let out a lot, maybe be a little bit more yang, which was in Capricorn. And then we have the full moon coming up towards the end of the month, which is maybe you want to get more yin. You maybe want to be a little more receptive, a little more internal, a lot more internally intuitive as well. Because this running story has had power over you for a while. It may have descended from your parental figures, others, and it has influenced maybe the way that you've promoted your skills, the way you've made money, how that's linked to your childhood story or who you've been. And now that you're redefining the story, meaning taking your power back, meaning taking accountability, recognizing it, this is like literally step-by-step process on what you need, and as you need to recognize this month of what's had power over you and where you can take back your power in this way. It's very personal. You might want to write letters to people who have affected you, or to the parts of you. Maybe you want to address the parts. IFSS system is amazing. I haven't done it personally, and normally I wouldn't recommend something I don't do, Virgo moon, but just know that I've experienced it without having to actually experience it. So maybe even just look into it, and you're someone who can intake and actually understand it and get it and just do it. And then if you feel more inclined, go as far as you want. Like, do whatever you want. Maybe you get guided somewhere else after that, but that is just my input right there. Because for some reason you've been hiding a certain value from yourself. You've been hiding something. You've been very stubborn about it. And now you feel brave enough. You feel secure enough. You feel like you have enough information. And then you realize when you have this information that you knew months, years, for some of you it's just days ago from hearing this, what the answer was, but you had to wait, right? There's this Libra energy that's still lingering from the Libra Aries nose of like needing to see everything. And I think that's very wise, because for a lot of you, it's going to validate that you no longer have to do that. That you no longer have to wait that long, that you can trust that initial reaction. For some of you, that initial response at the time that links to the validation, the one where you see, oh, I knew this then. It may not be initial, but for some of you it will. But you can trace back when you realize that, and you're like, oh, I need to remember this moving forward with this person or this situation, whatever it is. And the less that this dynamic and this habit has power over you, the more that you can see yourself with all the power and the skill that you have, and empower yourself to utilize it for yourself, not just against yourself. Maybe it's for drama, right? Maybe you love a little drama, you can't deny it, right? But you're going to see how that affects you at this time, especially in a day-to-day emotionally, how even your day-to-day life, how you've been affected from this situation. So now I'm pulling your general theme for the year. We have the first card out is the Sun. I just want to see if any other cards want to come out for the year of 2025, your general overview. This High Priestess at the bottom. Look at this. A lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot to enjoy, so much to experience, but there's also a lot exposed of you. Your creativity is exposed, your ideas are exposed. Uranus moves into your sign the second half of the year, and like anything that you've been waiting to try is going to feel easier at times. It's going to feel easier to just move. You have, it's like almost like it's bringing you there. Like the waves of Uranus will bring you there. But anyways, before, even in the meantime, that's what it's connecting you to. It's connecting you. This is all for the power to enjoy yourself, to enjoy your passions, to enjoy your creations, because when life is yin and yang and up and down, the best you can do is enjoy the presence, to enjoy the time that you have. Recognize that you're at a place where now you can choose in certain ways where you don't have to remain stuck in that same energy. You're allowed to respond differently. You're allowed to take your power back. You're allowed to address, because you're addressing your inner child. You're addressing the parts of you that got you here. And you're realizing like, oh, if I want to move differently, I actually have to act on this. This is now it's like, oh, it's a default. Now it's like, oh, it's just this way that I respond. Oh, where did it come from? Maybe you're not expressing yourself enough. Maybe there's something you've been wanting to do and now you get the energy to do it this year. Even if that is acting off your intuition, because that's what's going to free you. And maybe make a mess first. Maybe break your heart seeing some of the things you have to see about yourself, but just like how sensitive you are to the outside world, notice what breaks your heart on the outside world. Or what triggers you, how you respond to certain things is definitely has to do with how that has related to somewhere in your life that maybe you don't remember. Maybe you don't want to remember. You don't have to remember, right? But moving this energy physically, creatively, addressing things internally, gives you also every reason to, for some of you, this is all about standing your ground and up for yourself, especially when you feel overpowered. This is about coming into balance with yourself, with your feminine and masculine qualities, and this is what's getting you there. And a side effect and a general theme is this passion, energy, power, exposure, adventure, more freeing in adventure, especially if things have felt back and forth. Money, opportunity, growth, healing a lot too. So it's really important that you do step by step here. Take it step by step. Address everything over and over again. Those little annoyances that you have within you comes from a part of you that doesn't want to pay attention to it. You're over paying attention to it. Well, guess what? That part of you is not over it. So that's how you recognize, that's how you heal, that's how you love. And notice how that affects your life. Your work, your passions, how you see yourself, how you don't. A lot to look at this January, but the full moon cycle I would say is the biggest thing. From here, I split it into two groups, as you saw when I held them up. The yang is to confidently move and know that like you've done that, been there, done that, move forward. Okay, now I know where it's coming from. It's time to give myself the time, the patience to let my body and mind sink into this and recognize it was just here to protect me. And now that you're safe. You're safe in your body. It's time to integrate. It's time to process. Your intuition will be on fire. All right, Gemini? A different world. Different world. Different world. Because this situation was no good. It's no good. Okay? Especially if it was with a Capricorn. We're going to see you in the next part, which is in the link below. All information to work with me is there as well. And we'll see you soon.